welcome everyone in today's lecture. Our today's topic is rheumatoid arthritis. In these topics, we have decided to do it in three parts. Three parts means first diagnosis, clinical manifestations, second part monitoring and investigations, and third part treatment of the patient. The reasons behind dividing this lecture in three parts is because whenever we do a long lecture, sometimes attention is diminished. So, if we do it part by part, maybe 5 minutes lecture, 7 minutes lecture, it might provide a better concentration at least. Understanding is different, but if we can provide a better concentration, that might be beneficiary. We don't know yet, but I think let us try it. Let's see what happened. So, first of all, what is rheumatoid arthritis? So, it's as simple. Definition is what? It's a inflammatory polyarthritis. And if we like to add symmetrical polyarthritis. So, this is an inflammatory symmetrical polyarthritis predominantly affecting small joints of hands and fingers with a female preponderance. So, if we go of unknown etiology, so if we go for a definition, the number of parameters will go on and on. So, to keep it simple, this is inflammatory symmetrical polyarthritis. Although in some instances it might change. The patient might present with oligoarthritis, patient might present with monoarthritis also, and sometimes maybe with the extra-articular manifestations. So, we have to keep an eye on all those things, but to have a rule of thumb, it should be symmetrical inflammatory polyarthritis. So, there are some studies on number of patients, prevalence. It's usually 1% worldwide. It's a chronic disease with female preponderance, and sometimes the disease flares up. Sometimes there is remission, sometimes exacerbation. So, this is a chronic disease with some ups and downs. Some are bad days, some are good days. It's actually not good days or bad days, it's some bad episodes, some good time. It was like that. So, it's a chronic condition with female to male ratio is 3:1, and there are maybe frequent exacerbation and remission, and sometimes there is flare. For pathophysiology, there are many things. Some genetics locus has been found specifically with HLA region. Some environmental factor might also be there, smoking, infection. Some host factor is also there. So, considering all those things, the pathophysiology is complex, and after these all complex thing is this is in a simple words that pathophysiology is not well understood. Actually, this is the etiology is still unknown, that why rheumatoid arthritis happened. So, for the diagnosis, as we have decided to dedicate this part 1 for diagnosis. For the diagnosis, we should follow ACR Euler 2010 classification criteria for rheumatoid arthritis. So, this is not actually exclusive. We might apply it in clinical settings, but whenever we apply any classification criteria, we have to keep in mind that atypical presentation might happen. A patient might not have this kind of presentation and still have rheumatoid arthritis. but still we have to have an eye on this. I think this should be applied to the patient with polyarticular arthritis presentation, polyarthritis presentation. So, what is this ACR Euler 2010 classification criteria for rheumatoid arthritis? So, if we see the criteria, there are some domains we have to memorize this 4 domains. What are the domains? Joints affected, number of joint affected, serology, then duration of symptoms, then acute phase reactants. So, this is joints affected, serology, duration of symptoms and acute phase reactants. This is a very simple classification criteria. Problem is in the first domain. First domain is number of joints affected. First 2 parameters are for the large joints, then joints affected. There are 5 parameters in the domain of joints affected. What are these? 1 large joint, 2 to 10 large joint, 1 to 3 small joints, 4 to 10 large joints, more than 10 joints. So, what are the parameters? There, if we see, there are 5 parameters. What are the parameters? First 2 belongs to the large joints. Second 2 belongs to the small joints, and last one, which is more than 10 joints, it is irrespective of small and large joint. So, first domain is joint involved. There are scores for each parameter. Like 1 large joint is affected, the score is 0. 2 to 10 large joints affected, score is 1. So, whatever the number of large joint increase, the score does not increase that much. But if there is 1 to 3 joint affected, the number is 2. 4 to 10 small joints affected, number is 3, and more than 10 joints affected, number is 5. I think the scoring system, I am not sure, I will check it and I will share it with you later, but this criteria is present in the Davidson. I am not sure, I will check it and I will inform you later. 4 to 10 small joints might be scoring 4, or maybe it is right. So, 4 to 10, 3, and number more than 10 joints. If number of joint affected is 10 with at least one small joint, then the scoring is 5. Now, if we go for the serology, this is very simple. We see 2 serological tests here. We do like rheumatoid factor and anti-cytolinated peptide antibody or anti-cyclic cytolinated peptide antibody. So, in that case, if both are negative, score is 0, low positive, score is 2, high positive, score is 3. Duration of symptoms less than 6 weeks 0, more than 6 weeks 1. Acute phase reactants, normal CRP and ESR 0, abnormal raised CRP and ESR 1. So, these 4 domains: joints affected, serology, duration of symptoms and acute phase reactants. These are 4 domains. There are different scoring pattern for these different domains, like joint effect, number of joint affected with a score of 5, highest score of 5, serology with a highest score of 3, duration of symptoms highest score 1, and acute phase reactants highest score 1. So, there are some subtle points among these things actually, because what are the definitions of small joints, what are the definitions of large joints, which small joints should not be counted in these parameters. So there are many other things, but at a glance this is the criteria: joints affected, serological test, duration of symptoms, and acute phase reactions. These are the 4 domains, and there are variable parameters. So if a patient has a score of 6 or more, it is likely that patient is suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. Likely. Of course, there are some variations. So we are not discussing the variations in this lecture. I think at least this should be understood from this lecture, that if there are the score of classification criteria is 6 or more, then we can consider that the patient is suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. The important thing is that to note that if even the serology is negative, the patient might be labeled as having rheumatoid arthritis. So I think the part 1 of rheumatoid arthritis is done here. So we will do the next lecture of rheumatoid arthritis part 2, in which we will focus on investigations of rheumatoid arthritis and might discuss some features of extra-articular manifestations of rheumatoid arthritis. Thank you.